Sunday at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, history was made. Bubba Wallace, one of the most talked about, loved, and yes, hated drivers in NASCAR, just crossed the finish line at the 2025 Brickyard 400 and shook the sport to its core. A 100-race winless streak ended, a playoff spot clinched, and a crown jewel added to his resume at one of the most legendary tracks in motorsports. And with this victory, another question has erupted. Has Bubba Wallace now become the greatest black driver in NASCAR history? And how does his story stack up against the legendary Wendell Scott, the man who paved the way for him? Let's talk about it. The Brickyard moment. If you didn't see the race, let me paint the picture.
2311 Racing came to Indy with speed.
But Bubba still had to earn this one. He faced off against Kyle Larson, a Cup champion. Not once, but twice in double overtime. Every lap, the pressure grew. The boos rained down from a divided crowd. But when the checkered flag waved, Bubba Wallace crossed the line first. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a fuel mileage gamble. It was a flat-out, hard-fought win at a crown jewel race. For a sport where wins at Indy define legacies, Bubba Wallace just carved his name into that sacred Brickyard. Why this win matters. The Brickyard 400 is in rare air. It's up there with the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600, and the Southern 500. Winning here changes how you're viewed. In the words of Denny Hamlin, it's not just a race. This race has always brought the best drivers, teams, engine departments. It's always brought the best out of everyone. Regardless of how hard it is to pass, it still is one that brings the best out. It makes you feel good that the 23 team was able to bring a car fast enough for Bubba to drive it as well as he did and execute all the restarts, all those things. Just a very gratifying thing. This wasn't Talladega, where anything can happen. This wasn't a rain-shortened surprise. This was beating the best on one of the toughest tracks on one of the biggest stages. That's why this victory hits different. It's proof that Bubba can win anywhere. And it's the kind of win that even his critics can't easily dismiss. The weight of history. But to understand why this moment is so huge, you have to go back to where it all started. Wendell Scott. In 1963, Wendell Scott became the first black driver to win a NASCAR Cup race. And he did it in an era where the deck was completely stacked against him. No sponsors, little money, and the hostile environment every time he unloaded his car. Scott faced racism head on. He wasn't even awarded his winning trophy at the time because NASCAR officials feared how the crowd would react. He spent his career fixing his own cars, scraping by, and fighting for respect. He never got the spotlight, the resources, or the fair treatment, but he opened the door. Without Wendell Scott, there is no Bubba Wallace. So when we talk about Bubba Wallace now holding the record for the most Cup wins by a black driver, we have to respect how different their battles were. Wendell Scott was a pioneer. He was racing just to survive, breaking down barriers when the sport had almost no place for him. His single Cup win was a miracle under those conditions. Bubba Wallace, on the other hand, carries a different kind of weight. He races in a modern era with more resources, but with the massive pressure of being the only black driver in a very public, very divided time. And where Scott's battle was fought in the shadows, Bubba's is fought under the spotlight. Every move magnified, every mistake amplified, every success attacked. And now, Bubba has surpassed Scott in wins, and he's done it against deeper fields with more parity and in an era where social media makes him a lightning rod for criticism. So while Wendell will always be the trailblazer, Bubba is now the one writing the next chapter. The numbers don't lie. Let's lay it out. Wendell Scott, 1 Cup win, no playoffs that didn't exist back then, a career spent fighting just to compete. Bubba Wallace, multiple Cup wins, including Talladega, Kansas, and now the Brickyard 400. He's made the playoffs. He's led laps. He's won for a team co-owned by Michael Jordan. He also has 6 Truck Series race wins to his name and almost won the 3rd-tier championship with Kyle Busch Motorsports. And with this victory, Bubba Wallace extended his lead as the winningest black driver in NASCAR history. That alone puts him in a class by himself. Why are the Bubba haters so loud? Of course, we can't talk about Bubba without addressing the elephant in the room, the hate. Let's be real. A large chunk of conservative, traditionalist NASCAR fans simply cannot stand him. Some say it's because he speaks his mind. Others say it's because he got attention for things outside the car. Well, there are some valid criticisms of Bubba Wallace and noise around him. Let's not sugarcoat it. For some, it's because he's a black man succeeding in what they see as their sport. That's why the boos were so loud on Sunday. And that's why this win at Indy stings them so much. Because no matter what excuse they try to make, Bubba Wallace is now a proven multiple-time Cup winner. He isn't just a media story, he's a threat on the track. He had the best response to this group of fans after Indy win. Wallace said, "It don't matter. I'm already winning at life. I've got the best wife, the best kid. People are always gonna say something. I'm excited to see how far the goalpost has been moved, so I get to go and chase that now." So, is Bubba Wallace now the GOAT black NASCAR driver? Here's how I see it. Wendell Scott will always be the legend who kicked the door open. No one can ever take that away from him. But Bubba Wallace is the one walking through that door, and right now he's building a resume that no other black driver in NASCAR has ever matched. He's doing it with wins, he's doing it with playoff appearances, and he's doing it under a microscope Scott never had to deal with. If Wendell was the trailblazer, Bubba is now the standard bearer. So yes, today, in 2025, Bubba Wallace is the GOAT black driver in NASCAR. And this isn't just about one race. This win puts Bubba in the 2025 playoffs. It gives him momentum, it gives him belief.
For 2311 Racing.
This could be the start of something huge amidst all the drama and controversy they have found themselves in with the charter lawsuit against NASCAR. Could Bubba Wallace make the championship four? Could he, dare we say it, win a NASCAR Cup title? If you thought the Brickyard win was big, imagine what a Bubba Wallace championship would mean. So to wrap it up, Bubba Wallace just conquered Indy. He's now the winningest black driver in NASCAR history, and he's forced every single person in the NASCAR world to respect his name, whether they like it or not. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Bubba Wallace has now surpassed Wendell Scott as the GOAT black NASCAR driver? Or does Wendell's legacy still make him untouchable? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more NASCAR stories. Because, like it or not, after the 2025 Brickyard 400, Bubba Wallace is no longer just a storyline. He's a force.